Hey everyone, so I've gotten a lot of requests about how I make my photocard templates, and so I figured I'd make a video just showing you how I go through and either make them from scratch or update them. So in this video I'm going to be updating my baekhyun solo template, and so before I go into actually editing that, I'm going to go through a few frequently asked questions that I've had from you guys. So the first question I get a lot is, what software do I use to make my templates? I actually use Photoshop Creative Cloud 2018, and this is a software that you have to pay for, but I'm currently on the student plan, so it's about $10 a month for me, which I know can be steep for some people, but I end up using it for a lot of other things other than making templates. So yes, it does cost money, and I'm sure that you can find good free alternatives either online on your laptop or on your mobile device, but I just prefer using my laptop to make my templates, and I've been using Photoshop for years and years now, so it's very familiar to me, so I just prefer to use Photoshop. Another question I get a lot is, where do I find pictures of the photo cards for my templates? So you'll be seeing in a little bit when I demonstrate making the template where exactly I go to look for pictures, but a good place to start if the album is not new, it's been out for a while, is to go to eBay, and usually there will be good high quality pictures over there. Another place you can go is Google, which I don't necessarily super recommend just because it's harder to find high quality pictures over there, but it is an option. What I end up using in this video, and what I have to use for a lot of templates that I'm making that are for albums that just recently came out, is Korean Twitter, and I'll show you how I use that in a little bit. And then finally, another place that I go is a photocard forum. It's a good resource, and I'll show you that at the end of the video and leave the link to that in the description. How do I make sure that my templates save in high quality? So for Photoshop, there's actually specific settings that I use when I save the template to a JPEG, and I'll include those on the screen here. I usually keep the quality at the maximum, even though it does create a larger file, just because it makes everything a lot clearer than if I were to save it as a smaller sized file. For other programs, especially for mobile devices, I think that's going to be a lot harder to try to save it or adjust the quality on those files when they save. But this is just my experience with Photoshop. This is what I do to make sure that all of my templates save in high quality. What got you into making your own templates? So when I started out on trading on Instagram, I saw that a lot of the templates had the photo cards just kind of compiled on one screen, but they weren't divided by arrows or anything like that. So it was really hard for me to figure out what photo cards were from what era. So I've been using Photoshop for a while, and I knew that if I wanted to, I could pretty easily make my own templates in the format that I would want to have templates in. So that's just kind of what got me into making templates myself. I started out making 17 templates because they're my old group, and I just wanted everything super organized the way that I wanted it, and so that's kind of how I started out. What groups are your favorites to make templates for? So I enjoy making templates just from scratch, just starting out and adding all of the eras for a certain group, especially if there's not too many photo cards, because it can get pretty overwhelming if you're jumping into a group that's been around for like 5 years and you have a bunch of photo cards to catch up on. Also, some of my favorites, of course, are the groups that I collect for, because I like to be able to see what exactly I'm going to be collecting for the new eras. So 17, Stray Kids, all the groups that I collect for. How long does it normally take to put a template together? So the amount of time that it would take me to put a template together really varies depending on whether I'm updating the template or starting right at the beginning. So I've had templates take me anywhere from 5 minutes to 2 hours, just depending on how many photo cards there are to add. So whenever I was first making 17's templates, those took me probably the longest. Stray Kids took me quite a while as well, but whenever I'm just adding like 2 cards per member on a template, it takes me about 5 minutes to make those. Last question, how do you find pictures of photo cards for underrated groups? So as I'll show you in this video, finding photo cards for undergraded groups usually is most helpful on Korean Twitter once again, as well as finding photo cards for an album that just came out, just because there's more of a fan base there, I guess. That's generally where I find a lot more success of finding pictures of photo cards for underrated groups. Okay, so actually starting out making photocard templates, I'm going to show you how I updated baekhyun's solo photocard template. So generally whenever I'm making templates, the first thing I'll do is I'll go to K-Town For You and just look at the album inclusions. Usually you can find it by just searching their name at the bar, but of course since I was actually recording a tutorial this time it didn't show up, so I went to the new album section and found his album under there. So what I'm going to do is look at the graphics underneath the album just to look at all the inclusion details. So there are 3 versions, of course 3 booklets, 3 CDs, 3 folded posters, 3 postcards, 3 message cards, 3 sets of stickers, another poster, and then of course the versions of photo cards. So if I go to the top, the actual description will tell me which inclusions are random, so I'm going to include the postcard, the message card, and the photo cards on my template. So I'm going to go ahead and open Photoshop and find the baekhyun template on my laptop to go ahead and update. And of course right now it only has the city lights inclusion, so I'm going to go ahead and add a place where I can start putting all the photo cards for his new album. Okay, so now that I have that spot, I'm going to go ahead and first I'm going to check eBay. Of course it's very unlikely for new albums that the actual inclusions will be on eBay yet, and so my search didn't actually pull up any results of the photo cards, but if your album isn't super new that you're looking for pictures of photo cards for, a lot of times you can find success on looking on eBay. So I ended up having to go to Korean Twitter and I typed in Korean letters, baekhyun, and then polka, which is how photo card is abbreviated in Korean. So that's how you spell it up there in the search bar. And I found that there were a lot of already made templates in here, which of course we are not going to steal from. Disclaimer, do not steal from other people's hard work. Go ahead and look for the photo cards yourself. And of course, if you do it that way, all of the pictures will be a lot higher quality as well. So once again, don't steal from other people. Disclaimer. So the thing that I was running into here is, of course, baekhyun is a member of EXO, so there are a lot of his EXO photo cards and his tag. So I ended up having to scroll quite a lot to actually find his solo photo cards. So here I actually found one of them, but of course it has stuff all over the top of it, so I didn't use that one. I ended up using this photo card even though it has a little bit of glare on it at first. I ended up actually replacing it with a better picture later, just spoiler, but I'll go ahead and show you how I add those to the template. And right here I'm actually looking at the sides of the photo cards on the graphic that K-Town For You provides, just to see which version this photo card would be, because I usually try to put them in version order on my templates even though I don't have the actual version names on my templates. So here I'm going to use this rectangular tool. Of course it has a name. I don't know the name, but you can see it right here. And I'm going to delete the background off of this photo card, so all we have is the photo card itself. And then I'm going to resize it to be the same size as the City Lights photo cards. I'll eventually have to resize all of these later to make sure that all the inclusions fit on the template, but for now I'm just resizing it to the other photo cards. So an issue that I find with Twitter is a lot of times people just put all their inclusions in one photo, and it's really hard to get screenshots of just one specific item. So usually I will save those photos in another tab as like a backup of if I can't find anything better, maybe I'll use this photo. Usually I can find good close-up pictures, but yeah, a lot of times people will just put all their inclusions in one photo, and it's really hard to get a clean screenshot of any one thing. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit here since this template took a whole lot of scrolling on Twitter to find pictures for. You're welcome in advance for saving you a lot of time because this template took me probably 50 minutes to make, I believe. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and put more pictures of photo cards here, and I'll actually be replacing that one that has glare on it in this step because I found a much better picture of that same photo card. So here I'm actually resizing all the photo cards again, and one really fun thing about Photoshop is that if you've put a smart filter on a photo card and then go to resize it, it'll just automatically take it off, so you get to put it back on like a clown. So I really do love that feature of Photoshop. And there's actually a random postcard there that I added in the middle of everything that I edited out. Eventually that'll be taken out because it ends up being terrible quality. I end up wanting to replace it, so that'll get deleted eventually. So at this point I've actually found pictures of all of the photo cards, so I'm going to go ahead and resize all of them to make sure that they can fit all on one line pretty evenly. One thing I do recommend if you're using Photoshop is to make sure that all of your layers are in a sort of order that makes sense. So organize all the photo cards for one era together and put all the postcards all together. That's one thing I really struggle with, but it'll make you save a whole lot of time in the future if you just put them all the layers in an order that actually makes sense. One good thing about Twitter is you can actually find scans of certain photo cards or postcards there. I never explicitly go looking for scans, but I end up running across quite a few of them on Twitter, so that's usually a good place to find actual scans of photo cards and inclusions and stuff like that. So I don't even want to tell you how long it took me to find this last message card. Yeah, there was a lot of scrolling involved in finding this one, but I did finally find all the inclusions. So like I said, in total, this template took me about 50 minutes to make, just the delight section of it. So at this point, I'm just going to adjust everything, and then if I need to, add some filters on top of the photos just to make them all kind of blend together. And then I'm going to go ahead and save it as a JPEG. So one thing I wanted to show you at the end of this was the photocard form that I use to sometimes look for photocards. I'll leave the link to the website in the description of this video. But you'll go here and click photocards list, and I'm just going to search EXO, and you'll find that thread. It might be a few down, but the threads will usually have inclusions for all of their albums, and then this judgy man will look at you and tell you to turn off your ad blocker, and then you won't. And then it'll also include pictures of inclusions for the solo members as well. This one actually has quite a lot of their other non-album stuff as well. But if I keep scrolling, I'll end up eventually finding Baekhyun's solo pieces. And sometimes under the inclusions, it'll have just pictures of all the inclusions. For this one, it actually has a template, which is kind of helpful just to kind of see what exactly you'll be looking for. But again, like I said earlier, do not steal from these. This one is a template as well. But if I go up a little bit to EXO's actual album inclusions, I'll find that there are just pictures of the photo cards instead of templates. So here's just pictures of the actual photo cards. Sometimes this can be helpful for taking pictures of, sometimes it's just too messy to try to take pictures of them from here, but at least it gives you an idea of what exactly you're looking for each album. So this is the end of my template making tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I hope it was at least a little bit helpful. If you guys have any additional questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. Thank you guys for watching.